See, this is something I've been wanting to play around with. These cutaway sight hoods for a Marlin. Now there's a company that sells these, Northwoods Fairmont, Minnesota. And I thought it was funny. They had two different ones listed for an 1894 and for a 336. Well, I think they're exactly the same. I can't find any difference in them. You know, my thought was I wanted to try one of these because normally, like, I don't care for hooded sights. They kind of keep the light from hitting the bead. But at the same time, if you have a bead wide out in the open, you know, when you're pulling it in and out of a case, it can tend to snag, and it's also very easy to bump them and knock them. So I thought, well, I'll try one. But like I say, I ordered two because I couldn't figure out, I was trying to figure out what the difference was. Well, I've got one on my M model, and, you know, I don't know. What it ends up doing, yeah, the sight is protected, and it does let light in on the blade, but you still are shadowed over the bead. You know, so I don't know if there's any gain to that. You know, it's not as bad as the full hood. You know, I don't know. I'll play with them a little and try. One of my other concerns was, okay, if you ever go and take these on and off, there's a little tab that locks them, that holds them in place so they don't fall off. Well, when there's a full cover here, there's quite a little spring tension. Well, now, you know, you knock off about 80% of that. Lose it. And all of a sudden you lose a lot of your spring tension there. So I don't know, it might be possible that these would fly off too. Well, like I say, I'll try them. But they're, I think, 22 bucks a piece. So I don't know if the gain is there. Like I say, they would help getting the gun in and out of the case, not snagging on something. Because you can easily actually tear up the lining in a case, pulling them in and out. See, I switched, this is the one I sighted it in with the marbled sights. This is the 37W, which is the wide sight, which is too wide for a hood. So I had to go to the 37N. But they also, a thing to keep in mind with marble sights is, you know, there's a wide variety of them, but there's also a difference in the bead size. Now, I actually prefer the smaller bead like what this is. You know, this 37N came with a wider bead. Now, you run it to, like, this is the original sight that came on a Marlin, and there is no numbers on it because although it is like a knockoff of the marble sight, it actually isn't, so it isn't got the numbers on. And also, it's just got a, like, it isn't a brass bead on there, it's just a little, like a dab of brass paint or something. You know, they're workable, but the regular marbles ones are a better sight. And like some of the earlier models came with the regular Marlin ones on there, or the regular marbles. But then I think Marlin was cutting corners and making their own version of it. Yeah, the concept is interesting, but like I say, I don't really know if I'm going to gain anything with that. Well, actually, I was shooting a gopher that was already dead. I shot him yesterday. But that got the horses excited. But, yeah, like I say, I'll try them. And we'll see if the darn thing even actually stays on. Because that would be a concern. But it would protect it. I will give that much to it. But I guess, like, if you had lost your original sight, and, you know, the hood, if we're looking for a replacement that would do the job, if it stays on. Because I would think you would lose a lot of your spring tension. Because normally they come on and off pretty hard. You know, it takes a pretty good, because they've got that little scallop wheel on the one side. But I'll try it for a while and then make a decision on how I feel. But the concept is interesting, but I guess I'd almost as sooner that it was maybe twice as much material in the front and leave my back open. You know, nothing here, nothing over the bead. Or somebody should come up with something that works a little, just covers the sides like a lot of guns do, you know, and not actually go over the top. Yeah, well, we'll work with this and see what happens. But I've seen them for years and I thought about it. You know, like I say, I don't like the full hoods just because it throws that big shadow over. You know, well, maybe the cutaway would work, maybe it won't. To be continued, I guess.